There is one quality which one must possess to win, and that is definiteness of purpose, the knowledge of what one wants, and a burning desire to achieve it. Napoleon Hill. Before you can determine your frog and get on with the job of creating it, you have to decide exactly what you want to achieve in each area of your life. Clarity is perhaps the most important concept in personal productivity. The number one reason why some people get more work done faster is because they are absolutely clear about their goals and objectives, and they don't deviate from them. The greater clarity you have regarding what you want and the steps you will have to take to achieve it, the easier it will be for you to overcome procrastination, eat your frog, and complete the task before you. That is from the book Eat That Frog, written by Brian Tracy. So it's a wonderful, wonderful book. I highly recommend it. And so today we're going to be talking about a somewhat of a conversation that I had with one of the people, with someone that I'm coaching about how to get pretty much everything done. What do we mean by that? We're going to talk about that today, right? So let's get into it. Welcome to another episode of Candid Conversations, hosted by yours truly, Tech Coach Ralph, where we're introduced to win. In today's episode, I wanted to talk to you about how to figure out getting things done, right? So, quick recap. I had a coaching call the other day, and someone who like they're just totally transitioning from one field that they were in to another field, and they had a schedule that they were following and now because everything has changed, they got a new job, they have new hours, so many different things, still having like family obligations, still being part of the coaching group, and coming up with their own app ideas and stuff like that, but still trying to hold on to the things that they were doing for before all these changes happened, and trying to figure out how to get everything done. And I could really relate to them because if we go back 4 years ago, I was working on certain things, and I just had a different schedule to what I have today. And what I realized in the past year is how to, and I'm still working on this, right? But how to prioritize and execute. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the thing is, right, as you start to take on more, you have to start reassessing every single time. I am a firm believer in no days off, right? Every day we're working on something, every day we're getting better. But the question is, how do we use that time, right? On our no days off, how are we actually going to make use of our time? Time is the most precious commodity that we have. So the question is, what do we do with our time? Right? And so when I was talking to my tech barbarian, and I'm like, your life is not the same that it used to be 5 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, right? Whatever the time frame is, things are not the same. And now we have to take a step back and take a look at it from a bird's eye view. And what adjustments do I need to make for what I'm trying to achieve at the moment? So like we read from that little short paragraph from Eat That Frog, of finding out what is the most important priority, and then executing on that, setting clear goals, which is something that I always do with the people I'm coaching. I'm like, all right, let's set some goals and let's see how we're going to achieve those goals. So that was the message that I had to this to my tech barbarian. Is like, all right, what is it that we are going to like? And it's not something that it's like, what is it that you need to see? Okay, what is the top priority? How do I readjust my schedule? How do I shift my focus so that I can accomplish all the goals that I have set for myself? Right. That is the number one priority. So what I want to do now, I want to shift to a different book. Right. So this book is called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, and How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win. So I've had this book for like 4 years now, right? And I read it, I listened to it, but you as I was talking to on this coach call, it hit me. I'm like, you know what? Prioritize and execute. That is one of the chapters in this book. So I just wanted to read a short excerpt of this book, right? So this book is by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. So they served together in the U.S. Navy. So always thank them for their service. Love Jocko Willink. But just wanted to read this little short passage from the chapter called Prioritize and Execute. All right, so let's read it. It says, when confronted with the enormity of operational plans and intricate micro-terrain within those plans, it becomes easy to get lost in the details. To become sidetracked or lose focus on the bigger effort, it is crucial, particularly for leaders at the top of the organization, to pull themselves off the firing line, step back, and maintain a strategic picture. This is essential to help correctly prioritize for the team. With the perspective, it becomes far easier to determine the highest priority effort and focus all energies towards its execution. Then, senior leaders must help subordinate team leaders within their team prioritize their efforts. Just as in combat, priorities can rapidly shift and change. When this happens, communication of that shift to the rest of the team, both up and down the chain of command, is critical. Teams must be careful to avoid target fixation on a single issue. They cannot fail to recognize when the highest priority task shifts to something else. The team must maintain the ability to quickly reprioritize efforts and rapidly adapt to a constantly changing battlefield. To implement, prioritize, and execute in any business, team, organization, a leader must evaluate the highest priority problem, lay out in simple, clear, and concise terms the highest priority effort for your team, develop and determine a solution, seek input from key leaders and from the team where possible. Direct the execution of that solution, focusing all efforts and resources toward this priority task. Move on to the next highest priority problem. Repeat when priority shifts within the team. Pass situational awareness both up and down the chain. Don't let the focus on one priority cause target fixation. Maintain the ability to see other problems developing and rapidly shift as needed. All right. So that, like I said, that's from the book Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win. That's written by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. Very, very highly recommended book. All right. So the reason that I share that little passage with you is that the same way with the book Eat That Frog and trying to determine, like, quote unquote, what that frog is, what your highest priority item is, right? Once you've said that, and now you set the priority, and now you have to execute on that priority. You have to always look at your circumstances, your situation, see, has those priorities shifted? Do you need to adjust? Do you need to pivot on something else? And that is super, super important, because you can still keep trying to do the same thing that you've been doing for years now, while whatever that was, it might have been necessary and important 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. But now the game's been changed, right? The game has changed. So now, what is my highest priority item? And that's what we should continue to assess over and over and over again, because I know people will always, so many people say, oh, my top priority is family, family, family. I'm going to be honest, right? That is not always the highest priority, because I would say your highest priority is putting your family in a good spot. And that could be, you have to focus on work. You have to focus on, maybe you're living in a neighborhood that's not the greatest, so you want to move your family out of that neighborhood, right? That's still focusing on family, but your priority is to get something better, right? To put yourself in a better situation. Now, the reason that you're doing it is going to be for your family and things like that. The same way, if you think about like the military, the U.S. Navy SEALs, to use the example from Jocko and Leif Babin, like, the reason that they are Navy SEALs fighting for the country is for the protection of the country, but their priorities is going to be whatever that mission is on the battlefield. You know, so the point that I'm making is that we must continue to assess our situations and I'm setting these, like we can have an overall goal, but set like what are these little goals that are on the way to success, and how do we need to adjust? So, for instance, you might have a goal to learn how to learn how to code, right? And now that like let's say you learn how to code in Python, for instance. Now, is the goal going to be okay? Well, I still have to wake up at because let's say you're working and stuff like that. Do I still have to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to get in the books of learning coding? Do I start learning additional coding languages, or now am I waking up at 6 in the morning to work on different projects? Can I build an app? It's like, what is the goal in the moment that's going to lead to the bigger long term goal? And while we have these long-term goals that can be very like that can be very static, they can get adjusted, but it's how do we get there? What is the priority that we have to getting to the goal? And what's the best way to execute on that goal? Prioritize and execute. So things are going to change in the process. The same way. Let's say you're headed towards I don't know, wherever you're heading on a road trip, right? And you're in the GPS, you're following along, and now there's a detour because a road is closed, maybe a tree fell down a street, or there's an accident, and now there's a detour, right? So the goal to get to wherever you're going is still the same, but the execution of that goal changes based on the priority of that. The road is blocked, we have to take another way. We might have to make a U-turn to take another route. Who knows, right? The main thing that I want you to understand is that you have to always reassess your current situation. Things for me, like when I started streaming and creating and videos and stuff like that, the things that I had to do, like I tried to hold on to them, say, I can just fit this in, I can fit this in. I'm like, you know what? I need to take a step back and see, okay, what is the goal? What is the priority? And how are we going to make adjustments? How are we going to what can I do with what I have, right? There's 24 hours in a day, right? How can I make the most use of my time? Sometimes I have to wake up earlier. Sometimes I go to sleep later, But even within that, what are my priorities? What am I trying to get out there? Who am I trying to reach? So every time something new comes into your life, whether it's a new job, whether you've bought a new place, whether you have an idea, whether you have some type of health goals or something like that, you need to, and you're trying to plug it into your schedule, you need to take a step back and say, okay, is this schedule still the best schedule that I have? Because there are no days off. Don't get me wrong whatsoever. There are no days off. But what are we going to fit into those days? Let's not waste our days away. Let's make those days productive by assessing. We always have to plan. You cannot go into a battle, whether it's a game, let's say an athletic game, or it's a competition of some sort. Let's say you're in jiu-jitsu or whatever type of tournament, martial arts, right? You have to have a game plan. One of the things that helped me the most when I started competing in jiu-jitsu was setting my own game plan. It's okay. This is what I'm looking to do. If this happens, then I have these three options. If that happens, I have these three options, and having a set solid foundation of, if I end up in this situation, what am I going to do? Right. And then I go out there. So I have my priorities and I go out there and execute them. Do you always execute to 100%? Never. You never execute exactly the way that you want to do. It's never going to happen like that. But having the game plan is better than having nothing at all. The reason that people fail the most is because they have no plan. They have absolutely no plan. How does the saying go? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So that's why I believe that we always have to go back and we have to see, okay, what is our number one priority at the moment? Not what's the most urgent, but what's the most important. Because if we can always continue to chase what's most urgent, because that's what's right in front of us, and we think, okay, this is a fire, this is a fire, this is a fire, right? But if we prioritize stopping the fire from ever being set, then we don't have to chasing, putting out fires all over all the time. So that's one thing I want you to think about. Every time something new comes into your life, let's say you just brought a child into the world, right? You have to reassess. you're not going to be able to do the same exact things at the same exact time that you always did. And that's why you have to reassess, prioritize what's the most important, and then accommodate your schedule that way. There might be things that you were doing last year that you can't do right now. Or you might have to allocate a shorter amount of time to it so that you can take care of the things that are most important for this current goal that we're headed to. I hope that makes sense. I hope you can see what I'm saying here, because it's very, very important. Because if you try to force the things that you really don't have space for at the moment, then you're never going to actually complete the things that are most important to you. And I mean, I see that. I saw that in my own life, and I had to continue adjust. See how I am going to get to the goal that I have set in front of me. And that's why, and like just having that conversation with my tech barbarian, it hit me. I'm like, that makes like this. I was like, yeah, I went through the same thing recently, and I thought about prioritize and execute. Seeing and now that we can fit into, now that we have a reschedule, we've realigned our schedule, the things that we still want to do, that we used to dedicate a lot of time to, but that's not the top priority anymore, we can still allocate some time to that, but it's not going to be the same amount of time that we used to before, because that is not our top priority anymore. I hope that makes sense. Let me know what you think. Am I off on this, or are you following me? Are you rocking with me on what I'm saying? How we're going to prioritize what's important, figure it out how we're going to fit everything that we want to do into our schedule, but with the right amount of allocation. And then we're going to execute on that based on our new priorities. Not just trying to say, you know what, I'm just going to fit everything in, and then the things that are most important, we never actually get it done because we crashed out. You know? And then now that you reprioritize, you can start to look into, okay, here's the things that are most important. Is there anybody else I can bring into what I'm working on so that we can work together on this? But without that priority, you have no team. Without a priority, you have no team, because then you're all over the place. All right. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree, disagree? Am I off on this? Are you with me 100%? Are you with me 50%? Let me know. Let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear from you guys, but we're going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Do me a big, big favor on your way out. If you haven't done so already, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know every time that we go live and drop new content. And if you would like to see exclusive content like the split reviews that I do with my tech barbarians, another one's going to be posted at the end of this or early next week. And if you want, to see the full Scrum Night, and if you need one-on-one coaching, go over to techcoachralph.dev. You can see the different things that we offer. You can sign up for free, get our sprint reviews, but see everything else that we have to offer, different tiers, all that good stuff, and we can run it up together. That's what we do here. We win. That at the end of the day, we are engineered to win. We are running it up. There are no days off. So if you are with me, if you follow the same mindset, then go to techcoachralph.dev, sign up for free, and see everything that we have to offer, and we can go from there. All right. With that being said, I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful. I love starting my weeks like this on Mondays. This is the getting that mindset to take on the week. All right, because we can do anything. We can do anything. All right. I'm out of here. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. This is Tech Coach Ralph. We are out.